ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live studio. Subscribe or follow today.
And now, Rip the Ref with Brett Luchansky. All right, we got Mr. Brett Luchansky with us today for Monday's Rip the Ref, and Mike Durser back. We're back for the second half of Monday Night Live, Megathread Mondays. Welcome, Brett.
Yeah, how's it going? Good.
Yeah, it's going great. Yeah, good to. It's always good to see you. Love seeing you every week. This is my. I actually
just virtually over the phone.
That's right. That's
not
right.
not in a game situation.
Not in a game situation. This has become, as Mike knows, one of my favorite segments of our week. So enjoy. I'm never, I'm amazed at how few rules I actually know.
Well, I'm trying to find some interesting ones too. Maybe I should just find some ones like that Wes McCauley one. If you watched any of those, he's asking how many minutes for a high sticking double minor, or how many minutes for a minor penalty, like questions like that. I think you guys could get those.
Damn right.
I like the little bit of a challenge, Brett. The super softballs.
And I've been I got some good ones. I think I got some good ones this time. I made I was doing some prep yesterday, writing them up. So
awesome. We've got goalie Chad listening in on Facebook. We got extra Lars listening there. He says, how many more guys named Mike do you need on the podcast? We got lots of folks listening in on Periscope and otherwise. So
I hope Bob the goalie's there, because I got him in a couple of these.
Oh, you bet. Let's. I guess we should probably give him a minute to see where he's at and make sure that he's listening in. And by the way, I'm pretty much useless with the stats unless if Bob's watching. So if Bob's not tuned in, I'm in trouble. So we need you, Bob. Hopefully you're there, and he can add in a little bit of color. All right. So you've got some with Bob, some with Mike. So how this works, just for those of you new to this segment, is Brett comes with a most usually obviously fake scenario in which I get burnt on defense or something to that effect, and where I do something dirty to another player on the ice. So clearly, he's never watched me play hockey. And then Mike and I are asked the SRD, which is to state the ref decision. I think I got that right. Did I get the acronym right this time?
Yes.
It's been we've been at this for about a month and a bit now, and that's the first time I've got the acronym right. And at which point I'm usually pretty close to getting the answer correct, and Dursa's not even in the ballpark half the time. Did I explain the segment right?
Right. Somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat. I like Brett already. He's disagreeing on my behalf. That's great.
I really should have been keeping a tally down here on a little piece of paper, but I don't have the stats on the right or wrong.
Stats guy, Bob.
Need a percentage. You guys need a safe percentage, but it's for how many you get right.
So we're being chirped, by the way, on Facebook right now.
I see
Chad
that.
says 10-minute misconduct to Dursa for looking like Hagar. And Chad says 2 minutes minor to Brett for illegal curve on the hat brim. So, wow.
Not enough curve or what?
I think it's too much, personally.
Come on.
Yeah, we've had this argument on Twitter almost every time I've posted some type of Oilers live shot, and I got the flat brim on.
Depends on the hat, I'm telling you. It depends on the hat. You know what?
I have started wearing a curved brim recently.
Depends on the style. Some of them fit well with flat, and some need a little bit of a curve.
You're right. We're
as long as you don't have that triangle curve you see baseball guys. Some of those Japan and Korea, those guys got like a point.
Yeah. No, we don't allow that. That's not allowed. That is not
Roof
allowed.
pitch. Perfect.
All right. A little bit of SRD. Take it
Okay.
away. I'm ready.
You're
I've
not
been
going to get
studying.
burned on defense this time, Mike, but
course
you are going to be in a lot of fisticuffs.
All right, now we're talking. I like
So
it
this
already.
one is 9.5, situation 16. So I'll say Mike. That's you, Michael, and I'll use Dursa as Dursa.
Bob, by the way, is watching right now. He says, "Flatten the curve does not apply to hats." He says, 10-minute misconduct. Yeah.
Okay, so Mike made a dirty hit on one of Dursa's teammates. A Giordano-like knee on a beer league star.
A beer league star, no less. Wow.
Of course, the ref missed it. Didn't see it.
Yeah.
Didn't call anything.
Of
Didn't
course.
call shit. So at a stoppage of play, Dursa, who was on the bench and saw this, he changes onto the ice. Legal line change at a stoppage. He lines up at the hash marks next to Mike. Before the play resumes, Dursa just turns and jerseys Mike and starts punching and fighting him. Then they both start fighting each other. SRD.
Oh. Legals change.
They'll change it as stoppage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we
Right.
didn't drop the puck.
I haven't dropped the puck.
Mike couldn't, or Dursa couldn't wait to get back at you.
All right. I know the answer to this, Mike, so you go first, and I'll see what you say.
I'm ejected. Goodbye.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, we
but there's
know
more
that.
to it than that.
What's it called? Chad says it's a Semenko play. Is that in the rule book? Is that in the rule book anyway? Damn goalies.
Rules now and rules when I was playing are different, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna get 5 minutes for fighting, and probably, oh man, I'm fighting before anything's even live, so I don't know if there would be a major there, but definitely a minor. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, so I think legal change.
2-5 in a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2-5 in a game, but yeah, nothing to do with the nothing to do with I don't think there's the extra after the whistle sort of shenanigans, or I don't even know what you'd call if it was at the end of the play, or I'm thinking there's no illegal he didn't come onto the ice illegally, so there's no additional minutes there for entering the play when he shouldn't have. So I'm going to say 2 for instigating, 5 for fighting, 10 for the game.
Okay, so they classify this the same. It falls under leaving the bench to fight.
Really?
So
bloody refs.
Another, you know how
they can't even get their own rule book right.
I've been giving you those hot tips on how to get away with certain things.
Yeah.
So the hot tip on this one, Dursa, is just wait till the puck drops.
Yeah, exactly.
But so this one it falls under leaving the bench to fight. So any player that leaves the bench to start a fight, altercation with another player, is assessed a 4-minute double minor plus a game misconduct, plus any other penalties they shall incur.
So it's a double minor, not a
So
single.
you're taking a 4 and a game, and then a 5 and a game for your fighting. And you could argue that maybe you should even pick up an instigator on that one too. But that's not necessarily has to be called. And then, Mike, you're just taking 5 for fighting because you fought back.
Yeah. Do I get anything for being the victor in the fight? Do I get...
Well, you can go off the ice and give Dursa the championship belt motion or something after you put him down. But
right.
So that would be either a 4-minute power play for Mike's team or 6 if they give instigator on that one too.
You know, when I get in that fight, I'm leaving like Lane Frost and doing the.
So I guess that's like the kind of the weird one on this one is that even though it was at a stoppage, so it's not like you just during the play decided to jump off the bench and just charge someone and cause a big bench clearing brawl or anything. Like, you came on at a stoppage and there were still 5 each on each side. They still classify that as leaving the bench to fight. Because in this case, the puck didn't get dropped. Now, if the puck got dropped, I don't think this would apply, even though it's pretty obvious why he came on. But
when you ref, Brett, if there's a fight at all, is it 5 in a game, no matter what, for anybody?
In all minor hockey and Hockey Canada, yes.
But when you
I don't even know if junior leagues let you stay in the game anymore. It might be
when
5.
you ref senior or beer league or whatever you want to call it, industrial. Is it 5 in a game, or do you just serve 5 for fighting?
No, it's always a game.
Okay.
In fact, there's a 1-game suspension too. I think
I think in our league it's a 1-game automatic the first time. The second time it goes up. Third time it goes up again, and I think by the 4th time you're probably just not coming back. Yeah. And I think they might actually levy fines too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
50, 100, 200, like they go up as well.
Now, good question in beer league hockey. How do you determine what, like you yourself, how do you determine if it classifies as a fight or not? Because if you label that as a fight, that's a big deal in adult men's hockey or women's hockey. Spread the love. So you're not just going to throw that around, right? Like, does it have to be gloves off, or like as soon as the gloves go off?
Gloves off for sure. Especially if both have them off. I don't see that very often. Like, I don't know. It's hard to just say, like, you have to see it happening in front of you, but I could definitely see a fight. 2 fighting majors being called against 2 guys fighting with their gloves on in beer league. Like, it's possible. But we also have 4-minute head contact penalties in our league as well. So you could give 4 minutes to each, or you could give 4 and 2. That's 6. Like, there's other options to go with. I haven't called very many fighting majors.
No.
I don't even know how many games. I'm almost at 500 in this league. I would have hit 500 this year, but maybe not now.
No, maybe not now. Hey, the big 500. Do you get a plaque or anything?
You actually get a bag.
Nice.
You get a ref bag with your name on it and the logo of the league.
That's cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
I think you get a plaque or something, 1,000.
Yeah,
I think.
Plug for the league. Which league is it again? It's the Edmonton
CCRHL in Edmonton.
CCRHL. Yeah, that's all right. And those guys, by the way, on Twitter, along with some of the teams, have Twitter accounts, right? They're actually all pretty active. They're a great group of people. I don't know if it's the owner of the league that's on the Twitter account, but he's always interacting with everybody, or she. Anyway, it's been
before, when the season was going, the Twitter account had been dormant for a long time, and then they must have decided to use it again, and they were giving away. They had tons of Oil Kings tickets.
Oh yeah.
I know that they get a ton because they do a lot of that play like a pro stuff with the Oil Kings in conjunction with them. So, like, your team buys a bunch of tickets, and then you get to go watch the game, and then you get to play on the ice after, and they like use the board and the music and announcer and stuff. So I think through that they had a bunch of tickets they just had. So they were giving away, like, doing contests on there, giving away like full team sets of tickets and stuff until it all stopped. But
so by the way, CCRHL. Still looking for sponsors. We still looking for sponsors. I just tweeted it out. I said, giving some props on the Rip the Rep segment.
Yeah, you're trying to. What did you have last week? Was it Oodle Noodle? You're trying to get in there?
Oodle Noodle.
Oilers Nation.
Oilers Nation. That might be.
They need their own sponsors.
Yeah.
So, Brett, Bob Schmidt on Facebook is wondering if they write, your name in Braille on the plaque that you get after 1,000 games.
No, they don't. But actually, you know what's funny? You say that. Awesome. There's a Glen Allen in Sherwood Park. It's an arena. They have the ref room, and they actually have Braille on it. And I don't know if there's Braille on every single dressing room, or if it's just the because if it's just the ref one, that's a pretty good troll job. But I got a feeling it's just like on every room, but I'm not sure. But I thought that was pretty funny when I went there. I don't ref there very often, but I saw it. I had to take a picture because it's pretty funny.
So goalie Chad asks, wants to know what you think of the instigator rule, and so we'll chat about that. But there is, I want to know a couple things because it's kind of an interesting thing. As a ref, I mean, do you have much in way of thoughts about some of the rules that you have, like, or are you just all about what's in the rule book and you go out and you feel like it's not you to have an opinion on it, right? Or do you have opinions on some of the rules?
Well, I think every ref would probably have an opinion on it, but I mean, like, you can't pick and choose which ones you're gonna apply and which ones you're not.
Yeah.
Especially like in our league, there's like league specific rules that some guys might not fully agree with, but I mean, it's the league, their decision on what they want to have and how they want it called. And we have ref meetings every year, usually at the start of the year. They try to get them all together, or maybe it's on 2 separate nights because there's a lot of officials in our league, like probably like 80. And they'll go over certain things, and we want these divisions, like our new division that's called like Super Rec, the lowest division. We want it called this certain way, kind of tighter. And then when we get to the upper divisions, you can let them play a little bit. Like in some of the stuff, like there's an automatic 4-minute high stick in every division except for Div 1 in our league.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get why it's for the consistency. Game to game, if you high stick someone, it's 4 minutes. But there's a lot of high sticks that are like so accidental and so minimal, and 4 minutes it seems like very a lot for what the infraction was. But I mean, that's the rule, so I mean, you just call it.
Yeah. So okay, so let's now this is more of an NHL rule, I think. I mean, it is a Hockey Canada rule, but the instigator rule. Your thoughts on this in terms of the NHL? I mean, so we're going outside of your Hockey Canada reffing into the NHL, what you know about the game, your thoughts on instigator rule.
So yeah, the difference in the NHL one, I think if you get an instigator, you're getting 2, 5, and a 10. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because I know Cassian's gotten it a couple times.
Yeah,
I think it's 2, 5, and 10.
I think so. I think you're right.
So it's basically you're sitting for like a period, almost a period.
Yeah. Plus the extra 2.
I think that misconduct that's like tacked onto that is just sometimes they just don't want to deal with the guy. I think normally if you get an instigator, it's just an extra 2.
Okay.
I don't think the 10 is mandatory when you get a fight instigator penalty. I think I think that's just sometimes they don't want to break up another fight, so they give them another 10, and that's.
And then I do think NHL also has some rules about the last part of the game.
Right.
If one of your players is assessed a 2 and a 5, and then like that player's getting fined X dollars, and the coach is getting fined like $20,000, and I get what they're trying to avoid. They don't want to have like coaches putting all their guys out with like 2 minutes left and starting big fights. But like as far as instigator, like I think what most people have a problem with is like the instigator's there to stop the guys from going and fighting people as retribution for missed calls or perceived missed calls or dirty hits or whatever. And I think in theory it would work great if we as officials never messed up or never missed the first ones. But like, as we know, like that's just not the case. Like even the best guys in the world reffing in the NHL miss stuff. And so then what happens is like there was a dirty hit by Mike, that knee that we were talking about before, and nothing happened to him. And now Dursa feels like he needs to do something because Mike didn't get kicked out of the game or he didn't get anything. And now he goes and gets even, and then he gets hammered with 4, 5, and 2, and like his team's going to be short for 6 minutes. So I get what players feel like they don't have any, they can't do any policing when the ref doesn't call the first one. If in theory the ref calls the first one every time, then this instigator rule works pretty good.
It's kind of discretionary too. Like that instigator doesn't come all the time. If two guys go, and drop the gloves pretty much at the same time, nobody gets an instigator. But if you go after somebody and you cross check them and you drop your gloves first and you engage them and then they drop their gloves after, then usually you get the instigator. Like it's discretion.
But even then, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Like you've seen ones that one guy's really trying to get the other guy to go, and he's kind of skating around the ice for a while and not wanting to, and then they finally do, and they don't. They just give fives.
Yeah.
Like they almost only give the instigator when the second guy doesn't really fight back. Like,
yeah.
Then that's usually when they go with it, right? But
yeah, I get Chad, by the way, is he's fuming. I can tell just by the comments. He hates this instigator rule, and I kind of get it, right? Like I think you're right. Is that damn it, I did it again. I'm not even gonna finish the sentence because that's all fully recorded. Let's just say there are some comments made earlier that were correct, and refs are not 100%. They're not 100%. So, when they do miss something, right, and the guys go and they do their retribution and they get this instigator. There's two sides to. I always think about it. I think because right now, and Chad says it's 2 and a 5 is what they get. They don't get the extra 10. I might be right. I might feel better if maybe they did it 5 and a 10, right, or something like that, rather than doing a 2 and a 5. And the reason being is that added penalty, right? Like it's. Brad on YouTube says it's 2, 5, and a 10 for the instigator. And another game misconduct if it's in the last minute. So we're gonna have to get.
I question that 10-minute misconduct. I think that's discretionary again, and because my understanding of fight instigating in the NHL is it's just an extra 2, but in some circumstances it's like the ref doesn't want to deal with that guy anymore, so he slaps him in the box for an extra 10, so he doesn't have to come out and break up another fight again. Yeah. I don't think it's every fight instigator you get a 10-minute misconduct. I think that's wrong.
Well, I think stats guy Bob has got to look this up. It's got to be in the rule book.
It'll be in that NHL PDF for sure.
Yeah.
I can't do it right now. But.
Yeah. We'll have to. We're gonna have to look that one up. But anyway, regardless, I think that it's that extra 2 minutes, which is the real sort of penalizing piece on there, is that you come out of something where a guy should have got a call, the players got to police it themselves, and then they end up with the extra penalty. Now, from a ref's point of view, you don't really want that shit to happen. You don't want the refs policing the game themselves, or the players policing the games themselves.
No, I don't want to miss that first one, but we all know what happens, right? So like I was saying, I think it's set up in a way that if I make the call first, let's say I call you for kneeing, but maybe it didn't amount to a 5, so you're still in the game, and then they still don't like you, but I made the first call, and then they go after you, and then now they're getting penalized extra for that. So that's how it's set up to do. But if I don't make the first call, then it really hurts the second team.
Yeah, and and you look at the one that got Chad fuming. Oh, there he is. He's dialed in. All right, we got you on, Chad. You there?
Yo.
All right. Okay. So just bear in mind this is a kids show, and I know we got a ref on here. You got your 2 minutes to tell us exactly. Like I could sense just from your comments there on the Facebook feed that you were probably incensed just even thinking about the instigator rule. You were probably swearing already. What's your thought on the instigator rule?
Oh no! To me, it's a joke. I think the NHL is desperately trying to get fighting out of their game, which I I can go on for days about what I think about Gary Bettman and the whole hierarchy of the NHL. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, Brett, I respect you and what you do, minor hockey and rec leagues and stuff. You guys have a tough job, but you do a good job. In the NHL, there's 4 guys out there. There's no excuse. These guys are pros. The stuff that they miss, I get it's high paced, but I mean, they miss some pretty big stuff a lot of the times. And I'm watching more and more of our NHL stars that are taking a beating, and there's nothing being done about it. And I'm not just talking about McDavid. There's many of them. Crosby started taking things into his own hands and getting penalized for it. Like, to me, it's a joke. You know, the old days where Wayne would get a sucker punch or a hit from behind, Smek would come off the bench and he would, tune the guy in, and it didn't happen again. So the instigator rule to me is a joke. It penalizes the teams for having guys that take care of their guys, and like you said, policing themselves when things get missed. When there's 2 referees on the ice, I don't understand how anything gets missed, but that's my thing. That's my take.
Chad, you bring up something that makes me kind of chuckle, because they sold us on bringing in a second official was going to clean up things behind the play. Yep. What happened last year at Staples Center with McDavid and Doughty kind of trailing the play, coming back the other way?
Yep, I remember that play, and it's crap. To me, it's crap. It's like they want to. I almost feel like maybe it's conspiracy theorists because I love Connor, but to me, it's like they want to bring him back to earth. It's almost a little bit.
That play in LA, that trail official was just on the sideboards. I mean, he was in the vicinity, and I think he saw it. And was he afraid to blow that down and call that? Because like Connor took an elbow in the mouth, and it was blatant, and he was in the vicinity, and I got to think he actually saw it and didn't want to stop the play.
I have no answers for why he didn't. I mean, it's his job, right, Brett?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his job. His job is to make that call no matter what.
All else, I can say one thing. Like, these games are all watched and they are all supervised by official supervisors and also the league itself. And so if refs are seeing slashes, hooks, and holds on not just McDavid, but on all players, and they're not being called, and they're going over the game tape, and they're not saying that you need to call more of this or that or the other thing, and the league seems to be fine with it. It's like we were talking about before, Mike, with how officials feel about certain rules. Like, if you're calling a game and you're getting feedback and you're being told everything you're doing, we don't have a problem with it. We seem to like how the games are being called. It goes all the way up the ladder to how the NHL wants to have their game called. Like you saw years ago when they said, okay, we're going to crack down on everything, and they called everything for half a season, and then they just stopped. And the league, now just kind of reverting back to the way it was?
That game.
So what
you're
saying
honestly, Brett, that game, to me, showed actually, it showed well for the Oilers' ability to persevere through things, because it didn't break down into a junior B run around, hack slash, run over people kind of game that it could have. Because your star player got blatantly elbowed in the mouth. The thing that pissed me off is no Oilers took Doughty to task there,
and that's why Chad hates the instigator rule, because you can't.
Okay, yeah. But I got one. Because I got one better. I got one better, because this one actually, I've never been more mad watching a hockey game in my whole life than when Kachuk decided he was going to go at Cassian a few times, and then when Cassian laid him out and he turtled like a little bitch he is. I was laughing my ass off, but what was the end result? Cassian defended himself because the Cassian defended himself because the refs wouldn't. Period. They would not defend him. That's not even a question. And he ends up ruining for the team. How does he feel after that? So now he's suspended, for Christ's sakes, and cost the team the game. All for what? Defending himself. So whose fault in the end was that? That is 100% the league. 100% the league's fault.
Because then I'll say this. After they went and they reviewed the tape, and Perros come out and said those 2 hits by Kachuk, we're okay with those.
Exactly, but if you, oh man, I was so mad. I wanted Peros, and I'm looking at like George Peros is saying this. Come on, like
Yeah, it is
the
kind of
dirtiest player in
ironic.
NHL history. Saying that those were clean. I watched them
Let's
over
not
and over
talk
again. He
badly
left
about
his
Matt
feet.
Cook.
Yeah, well, but at the end of the day, Cassian didn't bitch about it. He just took matters into his own hands like any NHL player should. And he was penalized to the tits. The team was penalized to the tits. It was the poorest league call I've ever seen in my life. That one was tops it all.
You know what I think about that whole thing is the way Kachuk, like, he left his defensive assignment. He didn't give a shit if the point man got the puck there at all, and he ran
five
after
steps
Cassian.
and left his feet.
He ran after Cassian like Jordan Tutu used to stalk people, right?
Hey, Brett, 5 steps and leaves his feet to hit him in the head. What's the call?
Well, it's
SRD.
charging, if you describe it like
SRD.
Just saying, it's pretty simple. It's really not hard.
I think
5 steps, left his feet to his head.
At least one of those should have been called something minor for charging, even like give something. As a referee, you saw those. Now, is there any way you could say those were legal hits? No problem. No, like I said, like I can't remember exactly each one, but like at least one of those.
Yeah. Like
especially the second one, like it's pretty obvious this guy he's not trying to make a play on the puck at all. He's just going for the guy. So I mean, like minor for charging, minimum.
And you know what? If one of those is called a charging penalty, the way the Oilers power play was clicking, the second one isn't happening because they score a goal and he's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, it changes the whole outlook of the game, right? Like that to me is smart management of a hockey game. If you call one of those, right? Like you've seen them, they're predatory. They're not hockey plays, right? Like, as you said, he's leaving his station to go and basically charge a player. You could even be, as a ref, you could go to sleep that night knowing that you made an iffy call, and 50% the Flames fans would see it as a wrong call, and the Oilers fans would see it as a good call. But that one call changes the whole outlook of the game. Not necessarily from the Oilers getting a power play and scoring on that, but just that it stops what happened from happening.
I'm no fan of the Calgary Flames, but the Calgary fans are still hockey people. They would have known that was a charge. They would have known that was a penalty. They knew it was.
Yeah, I think most of them agree. Most of them that I saw agreed as well.
They're hockey people. They know what hockey is. They knew there was a penalty. They got away with it, so they loved it.
We don't say that. We don't
like
say
we
that
would.
on here. we
know what?
You know what though?
We don't say that on here.
If that whole sequence is called correctly, we don't probably have the greatest event that's ever happened in the Battle of Alberta between Mike Smith and Cam Talbot.
That's true.
That's why it's all scripted. Refs are just scripted. Yeah. It's all just put together, boys. I'm not supposed to tell you guys that, but it's all put together.
I just think officiating in the NHL is just not. It lacks consistency in the, and I know it's the league's fault because they put out these weird ass rules, and these guys gotta literally I feel bad for them. I really do. Because the league's just gone crazy with rules, but at the end of the day, just find some kind of consistency. I feel bad for those pros.
Well, for the longest time, we couldn't find a definition for what is goalie interference.
No.
So
ask what's his name? Ask Dirty Bag Kessler what goalie interference is. We all know what that is.
All right. Thanks for calling in, John. Appreciate it.
You have a good night, boys.
I kept my hand on the mute just in case. have a great night. Thanks again.
I kept it clean.
You did. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Have a good night, boys.
Call back.
See ya.
This, Brett, it kind of brings up something that I'm kind of curious about to know what you would do in this instance. And it's if you have, and to me, I mean, it always goes back to Connor McDavid, how he's treated in the league, right? But you got Patty Maroon, who says basically the only way to stop this guy is to hook and to hold him, right? If you're going in to a game, and let's say you're back, reffing minor hockey, and there's an all-star on the other team, and all season that's been happening. As a ref, are you watching for that? Or is it just a regular game, like you approach every game the same? Or do you watch for the things might happen? Like if the same could be said, two guys that are, traditionally always going to be out there hooking and holding, right? Like, I think as a ref, you watch for those guys, right? Like whether you like it or not. I find it a little bit odd that, players have stated outright that they will hook and hold Connor McDavid because that's the only way you get around it or stop him. But yet they're not watching for it. How would you approach a game like that?
So I had something like this back in the day. I reffed Tyler Benson when he was in Bantam Triple. And so he was basically like that. Like he was a step above like almost everyone in that whole league. I forget his points he put up that year, but it was like, I don't know if it was a record, but it was close to it.
Yeah.
And so to your question, like you definitely know that this kid is like, he's a McDavid type of this league, let's say. And you're definitely they're watching for it. And you're not going to agree with it, but you just can't call every single one. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. No, it's fair.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so in this case, you're watching whenever Benson or whoever gets the puck, you're watching and you're trying to catch the bigger one, the one that really tugs him to the side or really pushes him off the puck, opposed to the sticks out there and he kind of like pushes his way through and it doesn't really affect them, or the sticks kind of they're swinging sticks and it's hitting them in the shin pads or whatever. Like you're not getting them all because you just can't. Yeah. And people will say, "Oh, just call everything," and they'll have to change. And like, yeah, that's true by the letter of the book, but it's just you see it in the NHL, you see it in all levels of hockey. Like it just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you got to gauge what's more blatant, right?
You're really trying to watch for the worst offenses, not just the little ones. And I mean, I know guys aren't going to like to hear that, but that's just how it is.
It's coming from a ref. We wouldn't, you're already at a disadvantage. All right, you got another SRD for us?
I do.
All right.
I got, okay, you guys can decide who this one is for, because it just says Mike, so. 4.9A, situation 7, penalty shot. So Mike is on a penalty shot, and he makes an amazing deke, like triple deke probably. My Ducks. But Bob the goalie, somehow, and I have it in brackets here, probably pure luck, poke checks at him, and he actually gets the puck. The puck bounces up over Bob, off his pants, and it's now on the other side behind the goalie, going towards the net, and Mike grabs the puck and shoots it in. SRD.
Oh, man. Good. No goal. Is my call, because he's lost control of the puck. Mr. Dursa? Your thing's frozen there. Your video's frozen. Your mic is frozen. You're on mute. You're on mute, Mike.
He's just thinking.
He's thinking.
Deep thoughts with Mike, yeah.
We don't have time for this. Is like, you're in the big time now. There's no dead air on this program. We're not allowed. Not allowed.
Can you hear me at all?
It's got to be off the cuff. Oh, yeah. No, we can hear you. All right.
I think it's a goal.
You're counting it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa, man. Riot in
Yeah,
riots
right.
in the stands.
I can't believe you'd count that.
So as soon as the goaltender poke checks you and you lose control and possession of the puck, your penalty shot is over.
Well, that's a penalty shot. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't hear that.
Sorry, I missed her.
Oh, man. Wow.
So
Typical
as soon as
player.
he makes that poke check, you lose the puck. You can't regain the puck again. Now,
No.
if it trickles over Bob and you just watch it and it just rolls in, well, then obviously it's still good.
So goalie
Yeah.
Chad on Facebook called it right away, no goal. And goalie Bob on Periscope says luck is a skill.
Hey, I wouldn't want to be the ref that counted against goalie Chad if that was that game.
Yeah, no, he's a mean man, that goalie Chad.
Oh, those
Mean
goalies, they're a different type of human, I tell you, man.
Yeah, he's also Bob the goalie says I feel like we're overlooking what a great save I made. All right.
Yes, okay, that was a simpler one.
Yeah.
I got another one. Oh.
You know, if it was an amazing deke, it was probably the other Mike. I don't really deke amazingly.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Okay. Next.
Okay,
Next.
so we
up.
got another one is 6.7C, situation 9. So Mike and Dursa are fighting again. I
Yeah.
don't know if this has got to be the next game because you guys got kicked out of the last one.
Yeah.
You guys are fighting close to the players' bench. Bob the goalie is on the bench after getting hooked earlier. He gave up 5
Totally.
goals on 7 shots.
Totally. I don't know how I'll explain.
So he's
that
sitting
one.
on the bench with the ball cap now.
Yeah.
He decides to intervene because Hebert is getting pummeled.
Oh.
So Bob's on your team, Mike.
Jeez.
He's helping you out.
See, this is that's just not happening.
And then, so Bob is the goalie on the bench. He gets involved in this fight from the bench.
Yeah.
And then he ends up fighting with Dursa from the bench. And I don't know what happened to you, Mike. I guess he fell down or got knocked out. I don't know.
Okay. Well.
So SRD.
10 minutes for making this story up. 10-minute misconduct for chirping me on my own podcast. All right, SRD. I think it's counted as leaving the bench illegally, and he gets a game. 5 for fighting in a game. Bob does. And Bob also says, "Rest in peace, Dursa." He's and then then the usual 5 for fightings apply to the other nuts. Your shot, Mike.
Yeah, 2-5 in a game.
2-5
For
in
Bob.
a game for Bob.
Okay. So yeah, this is another one of your little tips here. Don't leave the bench to fight someone. Just fight them from the bench.
Oh,
You get 2 less minutes.
look at
So
that.
we have Mike Hebert fighting 5 in a game. Dursa 5 in a game for fighting. Now you could say, I didn't actually write this in, but I'm wondering if Dursa gets a second 5 in a game for fighting because now he's fighting with a different person.
Damn rights he does.
I didn't actually write that one in here in my little sheet,
toss
but
the book
I just
at
thought
him.
about it right now.
Toss the book at him.
That makes me think. That makes me think we should look up like what Ray Emery actually got for penalty minutes because he fought the one time he fought Matthew Biron, and then I think it's I think the last guy's name is Peters from the Sabres. Like he fought a goalie, so he got in a goalie fight, and then he fought a player.
Right, all on the ice, like a line brawl or
Yeah.
something, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if it was a bit of a line brawl or it was just him, or I'd have to look it up. It's pretty amazing sequence there.
So, and then this one, it's Bob from the bench. It said he intervened, whether he's intervening as a peacemaker or not, he's getting the 2-minute minor plus a game misconduct for the third man in. And
does
then
get 5 for
and then he
fighting?
ended up fighting you too. So, and anything else he does, the 2 in the game plus whatever he does. So he's getting a 5 in a game for fighting.
So it's a
Dursa.
2-5 in a game for Bob.
He's actually it's 2-5, and he's actually got 2 game misconducts, which I mean that just adds up your PIMS and maybe a suspension, extra suspension, maybe. But
Yeah, well, he let in 5 goals that game, so
I mean,
as
yeah,
a team, we're all right. We're probably lobbying for the extra game.
just thinking of his GAA, trying to keep it in check.
That's right. Call in the spare. Bob, you're getting a hook. It wasn't even 5 goals and probably still first period. All right. You two, by the way, are going to take over the show for about the next 2 minutes while I go and take a facilities break. So carry it away. I'll let you know when I'm back.
Okay. What do you got for me, Mike?
I feel like, by the way, this always makes me a little bit nervous. Like I wish I had a pair of wireless headsets that I could take with me. Or maybe I'll just watch on Twitter from my phone as I as I go. Okay, you guys, you're all right. Don't get me into any illegal issues. Okay, talk to you soon.
So I got to ask you, did you see that play like at the Staples Center where Doughty did crack McDavid in the mouth?
I am remembering it now. Like they were skating and he just kind of. It wasn't like it wasn't like a hit, or it wasn't even really like a big wind up. It was just like from your resting position upwards.
Yeah.
And like I don't even know, was he even looking at, like he knew he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was definitely
So
intense.
I mean, like it. So, but like, what do you think you want to see there? You want to see 2 for elbowing? You don't, or you want more?
Yeah. No, that's all it needed to be, but it needed to be something. And the ref was like directly in line with him, but on the boards. And I'm pretty sure he was looking at him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the thought process is there. Like if he's thinking, I don't want to disrupt the play because it's not bad enough, and just whatever.
That's not the right thing to do.
No, it definitely.
Like, and the whole thing is like, and it's harder in men's league or whatever when you just have the 2 ref system. It's a lot harder to just be the ref. If you're the back ref there, it's a lot harder to hang back because you have a lot more jobs to do. Like you can't just hang out in that end zone the whole time with those 2 guys while the play's at the other end, because you're supposed to be like covering the blue line for offside. But in NHL, we have 2 linesmen, 2 referees. So I mean, really, that back referee, he's just following up those, whatever the last players out of the zone are, he's following up, and he should be looking there because the other guy is going to be taking care of the other end, especially if there's 2 guys kind of behind the play and you're not sure what's going to happen. Like, I don't know.
Kind of the whole sales pitch, like when they brought in a second referee by the NHL, was we're going to clean up everything, the garbage that goes on behind the play. And as soon as that happened, I'm thinking of that. I'm like, okay, you brought in this other referee to clean up the garbage behind the play. That is exactly what that was. Why did we let this go?
Yeah, and like we had that when I was still doing midget AA. They were having problems, and they brought in they couldn't pay for, and they didn't have enough guys, like officials, to do 4-man system. So they have like kind of a modified 3-man system that kind of has 2 refs and 1 linesman, but the refs kind of do a couple linesman-y things, but not as many because there's still that 1 linesman. And the whole idea was, well, we can have a guy behind the play to catch stuff or whatever, right? And they did it for a couple seasons, and then I took my years off from reffing, and they went back to the original way. Now I don't know if that was strictly a money thing, because they did end up costing them more because they had to pay for 2 refs and 1 linesman instead of the other way around, or if it was it was more money and they really found like it didn't really change what was happening, or I don't know. But so it's been tried and they went back to the other way. But like, there's no way those NHL guys could skate with those guys now. Like, you watch those old games on Sportsnet from like the 90s, or when they're still doing just the 1 ref.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's like 1 full zone or more behind the play most of the time. Like, and so now, like, you can't imagine, like when a ref gets injured or something, and the guy has to go back to the old way. Like, he's like not in position for goals or nothing. Like, it's way harder to keep up.
Yeah. It's funny watching some of those classic games that are on, and you know, the things that get let go. I mean, now you'd want the guy suspended, and there wasn't even a penalty called. And
there was one I saw a couple of days that was making the rounds on Twitter of a Mario Lemieux goal, and he gets it in his own zone, and he goes all the way down the ice, probably around 2 or 3 guys, and I think I counted like at
7.
least like 5 solid ones, and if you wanted to call a couple more like the weaker ones, you could have had 7 or 8 from when he picked up the puck to when he scored, and there was no calls, no arm up for any of it. So totally just different era, man, and like it's just the standard of the league. Like like the refs are.
Mario was amazing at fighting through bullshit. Like I don't think there's
back then.
I don't think there's a player ever that fought through more bullshit than Mario Lemieux, but he got mad at a point where he called the league out and he said this is just a garage league. That's what he called them because of that. Yeah. But during the game, he never really complained about it. He would just fight through it and still work his magic and score a goal. But afterwards, then he would get mad. Yeah, because they probably showed him game tape of what he was fighting through.
Yeah, and as a player, like you got to walk a line with the official, myself, as complaining and fighting through stuff. There's like if you're like, I get it. You're not going to just keep fighting through like everything. Eventually you got to call me out on it, which is fine. But like, if you're going to do it on every single thing, anytime there's anything near you, like all refs are human. Like it just weighs on us. Like, okay, man, like I can't, I'm not going to call that. I'm not going to call everything for you. Your defenseman does the same thing with his stick when guys try to go by. Right. Like, it's just like, we're not going to call that. And if you're always in the ref's ear all the time, like it's not doing yourself any favors.
Right.
But, you know, I understand that you're not going to just take like abuse all game and not say anything. Like I totally get it. And I'll have conversations with guys and I'll listen to guys and we can talk at stoppages or even between periods. And if it's like a good conversation and stays like kind of respectful, then it's fine. Yeah. I have no problem with that.
It's more so how you talk to a ref rather than what you say.
And sometimes you just got to go and scream and yell and get the boys fired up and get yourself tossed, maybe.
That's the best. Those are the best words you've ever said.
I've been ejected from a game in minor hockey before.
You got to get the boys fired up. They're gonna win it for you.
That's right. Those are the best words.
What's the line that Hibero says? We got to beat 2 teams out there. Another team than the zero refs.
I've never said that.
I don't believe you, Mike.
Maybe once. Damn it! I tell ya. You know what? I had a good listen. Well, you guys for a while. I thought, geez, let's see how this. How the live stream goes without me. See how important I am to everything. Turns out I'm not that important. It went quite well. There were no explosions, no anything. I think I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire and just you guys take the reins. Run. I heard you talking about Lemieux and the goal to end all goals where he had you know, it kind of reminds me of McDavid's goal where he had the whole Flyers lineup hanging off of him and he still scored, right? Like, that's the difference between superstar, though, and just regular playmaker like Goudreau.
That Morgan Riley goal, like where he walked Morgan Riley and then roofed it, that's got to be one of his prettiest goals he's ever scored. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that Philly one because there's a still picture of McDavid, and I think all 5 Flyers are in the frame, or maybe 4.
There's at least 4.
He's like just kind of in the middle of them all, and you know that he went through and scored. It's that one.
And there's 3 all on that one side, and there's the one guy kind of a little bit over, but yeah.
I missed a lot of chat while I was gone, by the way. It looks like Bob unsubscribed after. And Chad says we're gonna have to run the goalie Thursday. We'll do rip the ref on Mondays and run the goalie on Thursdays. We could do that. We could do a little run the goalie segment. He says, Chad's talking about his coaching ejections. And imagine Gretz in a no-touch league. Yeah. I mean, you watch those guys. Even Gretzky, like, for all the times that you heard he never got touched, like, that's just not true. He might not have, they might not have, like, he might not have taken as many hits as other players because he was just so good. But he was hooked and held, and man, it was unbelievable.
This might be a reference, like, to, like, Brett, you might be too young for this. I don't know if you watch Boys on the Bus much, but that Greg Kite, like, from Winnipeg, tried to literally elbow Wayne's head right off. Like, he full off swings like chicken wing big time. And Gretz just dances around it like it's nothing. Like, he was fucking amazing at how he could, sense that a guy was trying to kill him and just bob and weave around it. It's unreal. Like, if you ever watch Boys on the Bus, Brett, there's a scene where there's a defenseman from Winnipeg named Greg Kite where he takes his elbow and he just tries to give him a forearm shiv pretty much with the meat of his elbow, and Gretz just dances around it like a ballerina. Like, it's amazing.
You missed out. You missed out on those years, Brett.
Yeah, I did. I haven't seen that, and I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You can actually watch it now just
YouTube.
on Facebook. You just on Facebook, just search Boys on the Bus, and it's right on there. Yeah. So I know you watch Dusty's streams on there. You can watch Boys on the Bus on there and be in your glory and catch up to the rest of us.
Speaking of Dusty's streams, Dusty starts. We're at 10:30, so we're gonna wrap it up here pretty quick. Dusty starts at 6 a.m., so that comes early, which is why we got to be done here in just a couple minutes because I'm going to have
to catch him in the morning.
I'm going to have to catch him in the morning. I'm going to be.
I'm working on you, Mike. I'm going to have you up at 6 one
Rise
day.
and shine. I'm going to live stream a 6 o'clocker. What it's like to be a 6 o'clocker. What's the deal with the conch? How do you get recognized? How do you get conched?
Mike, you just got to text in and tell him you're heading to work or give him a reason why, and he'll just give you one.
All right.
But say, I'm Mike from Oilerslive, you were on my podcast, and I'm up at 6.
And
I'm actually up at 6. Give me a conch, and he'll get one.
And so I gotta be up at 6 and text at 6.
No, just text in at like 6:50, and he'll probably do it for you.
Oh man.
Yeah,
as long as it's before 7.
Yeah.
How long does he do the conch for? How long does he do the conch for? What's the text number here? I gotta
10, 12,
10 12 60.
10 12 60. Oh. Just wake up nice and early. Get it in at 6:05. Listen for your text to be read, and then you can go back to bed, Mike.
And go back to bed. Yes, you know me too well. That's exactly how. That is precisely how it happened.
That's how I do.
You're going to be listening tomorrow?
Am I going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my car at about just right when the show starts because that's when I leave to drive to work. So.
Oh man! All right. We're going to try to get. I'm going to try to be an inaugural. This will be my inaugural 6 o'clocker, and then I could change my hashtag on my profile to 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Just make sure you mention that you're Mike from Oilerslive because he'll recognize that for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And we've had a little bit of some barbing on this 6 a.m. That's 6 a.m. Yeah, 6 a.m.
Yeah,
it's not like a dinner time thing, is it? Damn it! I prefer the dinner time.
Just send him a text now. He'll probably conch you in.
That's right. Just conch me in, man. Like I'm up. I'm staying up. I might just have to stay up the whole night. That's what I used to, when I'd have like an early morning meeting back when I was in my 20s, a couple of years ago. I would do the all-nighter, because there was no way I was waking up for like 6 a.m. So I just not sleep. I've always been I've never been an early morning guy. I don't know if that's...
Yeah. I just gradually
was
made
a
it
great
there.
guy, but I don't
when
know
I went to school, it was later, and when I first started working, we started at 8, and then they made the switch to 7, and I was like, kind of choked about it.
Yeah.
But then I just got used to it, and like now where I work, usually it's 7, but ever since this pandemic thing, like we've staggered a lot of cruise starts, and so there's like guys that's starting at 6:30, 7 so there's not so many people around all at the same time. So I'm on at 6:30 now, so I'm getting up a little earlier even. But like once you get used to it.
Hey, did you razz Daniel about how his name was? How they were calling him Danielle?
Yeah, I asked him about that. He said that guy, he remembers that guy. He's like, that guy's kind of weird. I don't know. Like, just look at that guy.
I totally would have been razzing him the next day for sure.
Well, I did. I think I talked to him on the next day or two. He said,
Hey,
he called me
Danielle.
and he needed to ask me a question. I said, hello, Danielle.
Oh,
I kind of gave it to him a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we are at 10:34. We're, at that time. Any, Mr. Dursa, any last words?
No, I don't have much. It was a good show. Thanks, Brett, for hanging out again.
Yeah.
Thanks,
you
Chad,
so
for calling in and not completely losing it on me. Gave me the old I respect what you do, but those professionals are terrible.
That's right. That's right.
So I like that.
I love that. That was the best. All right, guys. It was a good episode tonight. It was a lot of fun.
You know what? I gotta say something. Chad, as abrasive as he might have came off there, he was actually. We had a ref that did pretty much like when you get into minor hockey, it's usually you have consistent refs for your home games and you call them because you're booking that ref. He was a sweetheart to this one kid that did a lot of our Adam games. Like I was his assistant coach for a year, and Chad was a sweetheart to the one kid. So he might come off as being kind of abrasive, but he really wasn't. Sorry, Chad, I ruined your mystique there.
Yeah. So I want to send out a thank you to all those that interacted online and had some fun with us tonight. Bob, the goalie, our stats guy, and goalie protector, as always, and Chad for continuing to listen in. Jacqueline for tuning in, Lars, all of you, Brad on YouTube for helping out with some rule books. He said his rule book was a little bit dusty. I said that's exactly how it should be. And everybody for continuing to listen. We will see you back Thursday at 8:30. Hopefully I've got a surprise guest. I keep telling Mike I'm going to have a surprise guest, and I do every week because I never tell him until Thursday. So it's always a surprise guest. I'll let you know on Thursday who that's going to be. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. See you on Thursday. Stay healthy.
Take care, Brett.
Yeah, see you guys.